Okay, Mike, thank you so much for coming along today. You must be so busy. If you could just tell us who you are, how long you've been in Fownhope and how long you've been involved with the club walk.
I'm Michael John Andrews, and I've been involved with the club since I was about 5 years of age, and I've lived in the village all my life.
Wow. What's your earliest memory of the club walk?
I think when I was a boy, and I first got onto the banner of the ropes, carrying the ropes, because we used to have 4 children on 4 ropes, which we still use on the banner for steadying him if there's a gale or high winds. And I got onto that, and I was on that till I was 17.
What happened at 17?
Well, I then started carrying the oak tree.
You're going to have to tell us that story about Mr. Haynes, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah, that's with the chairmanship though.
Okay, so okay. So tell us about how you came to be carrying the oak bough and 80-year-old gentleman.
Well, the 80-year-old gentleman, Mr. Donald Watkins, I used to, who helped to cut the tree. Then I used to walk the side of him to hold the tree for him when we went to the guest places, and that's how it started. Then, when he would come to getting on towards 80, he said to me at the New Inn one day, "I'm going to walk to the church with the bough," and he said, "I want you to carry him after." And he said, "I'll stand aside of you and I'll hold him while he has a drink," he said, "at the people's places." And that's what we done. And we went and I carried him all through the village, everywhere we went. We come back to the Green Man, which we used to go to the Green Man for lunch in those days. And he said, "You didn't make a bad job of that, boy." He said, "I think you can do that every year now."
So tell us about the time you were telling me just now about the time you were cut. It was in the rain and you're carrying the oak bough. What happened?
Well, you used to get red, white and blue from the ribbons running, and you used to carry on just the same as if it was a sunny, dry day. We never used to stop. And the band used to still keep coming behind, and the banner. We went to the Green Man once. We was invited there, and we got there, and it absolutely poured. It did, and he had a barrel of beer, and everybody ran away, and there was nobody there to drink it. So there was me and another couple, as it was Arthur from the Green Man, what was doing, hosting us. He said, "Welcome boys, you better drink some of this beer up." So we drank as much as we could, and then we had to go down to the Forge and Ferry to finish off after. So we went down to the Forge and Ferry, and that's where we packed up, wet through.
There's a lot of drinking, isn't there, Mike?
Yeah, there is a lot of drinking. It's not so much nowadays as it used to be. Because I was the one what drank the most drink in a day, which was recorded in the whole club walk. From 10 in the morning till 12 at night, 42 pints.
How come you're still standing here?
I was still standing. I was. And I was up early the next morning because that year the Salvation Army band was playing and they wouldn't walk. So we had to have John Norman's Arctic lorry from Lacey, dress him all up, and put chairs on there for them to sit on to play, following in me and the banner around the village, and the rest of the people with the club sticks.
42 pints?
42.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh my God, yeah. How old were you then?
Oh, I expect I was between 30 and 40.
God, did you feel that the next day?
No, because I had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I had to go up Tom Lacey with another person to take the decorations down because the Arctic lorry was going out to be loaded. And when we got up there, we hadn't got a pair of steps with us because he had barriers right round, higher than what we were, where we had the decorations on. So the next best thing, the person what was with me, I got her in my arms and held her up. Well, she undone them and I walked all the way around the edge of the lorry.
You're president, aren't you?
Yes.
And you were chair. So can you tell us about your different roles in the walk and how you came to be president?
Can you say that you were president for the camera as well, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am a president.
Say it to me, Mike.
Yeah.
Just say, so I have been president for so many years.
Yeah.
I've been chair.
Yeah, I've been president for at least 30 years and chairman for over 40. Until this year, as I passed it on to Jeff Hardwick. And the reason I passed it on to Jeff Hardwick, because he's an old Fownhope person, and I wanted to keep it in Fownhope with the people what was in charge.
How did you come to be president?
Well, it was from all the work as I'd done for the Heart of Oak, and they decided to put me as president.
Who was Lewis Haynes?
He was chairman before me, Mr. Lewis Haynes was.
So tell us how he passed on the chairmanship to you.
Well, he used to be the one what used to carry.
Could you say Lewis Haynes was the man?
Yeah. Lewis Haynes was the man what used to carry the one side of the banner. And I always used to be with him as well, in front with the oak tree. So one day I was on the committee, and he was on the committee, like being chairman. He said, I proposed Mike Andrews carrying on with my chairmanship. And I took on from that day chairman.
For how long?
For 40 some odd years it is.
So are there any moments in the club walk in all your years with it that stand out? Any high points? Any mammoth drinking sessions? Any characters?
Well, we had some characters, all right. And we used to, in the summertime, have barbecues at different people's places and a bit of a party and drink. And Mr. Desi Biggs's we used to go down to sometimes. And we made some homemade cider once down there. We did, 2 or 3 of the committee. So it was ready to try. So when we had this barbecue down there, they decided to try it. So they put me barman down in the cellar. So I was down in the cellar because they put all the drink down in there because they had a nice cellar there. So there was a character from Common Hill used to come round, Dave Daw. So he used to come down, and he had a saying in the pub about when he wanted another pint, more beer, vicar, like that. So at the time, at Desi Biggs's down in the cellar, I had the local vicar there talking to. Dave come down the steps into the cellar and he said, "More beer, vicar." And I was talking to the vicar and the vicar didn't know what to say and I didn't know what to say to Dave. But we ended up with laughing and that was it, like.
So it's been your role to cut the oak bough?
Yes.
Every club walk?
Yeah.
So, I mean, could you tell me about that and how long you've been doing it?
I've been doing it since I was 17 years of
But
age.
can you say what it is you're doing? Because I won't
Yeah,
be...
I've been cutting the oak tree since I was 17 years of age, and I've had various people helping me. I had a Mr. John Wallace one time helping me.
Okay, Mike, can we just talk about the oak bough again from
Yeah.
the beginning?
I'll start
Can you
from the
say
beginning.
oak bough and how long
Yeah.
you've been doing it, what it is, what it means?
I've been cutting the oak bough since 17 years of age, and I've had various people helping me. To start with, it was Mr. John Wallace. He used to help me, and we used to take it then to the farm where we both used to work and dress it with the ribbons and take it down to the village to where we lived with a tractor and trailer and that. And after a few years, there was a Mr. Gerald Powell used to help me to cut him, and Richard Wallace, he used to help to cut him some years. I've always had somebody, and now it's come to me and Jeff Hardwick, because we've moved down to Jeff's because we planted some trees down there, because I grew a lot of trees from acorns and passed them on to Jeff, and he planted them down at his place. And that's what we've been cutting.
Who used to do it before you?
There was a Mr. Alan Godsall. He used to do it before me. And he used to do it for Donald Watkins, what used to carry it. The one what passed it on to me after, of carrying the tree.
What's the significance of the role? What does it mean to you?
Well, what it means is that the oak tree does the heart of oak. It covers actually of the club. I don't know what else it actually does, but mainly because it's the heart of oak society, the oak tree and the acorn is to cover it.
So where do you go? You used to go to Capler Wood.
Yeah, used to.
And what time of the day and what time you have to go?
Well, I used to go up there in the weekday, and I used to look round and sort a tree out and mark him ready for the Saturday morning, because just after 4 o'clock some Saturday mornings it used to be dark, some years, and I had a mark on him. Then we used to cut him down and cut him into size, carry him down, take him down to the farm where we used to work, the Rise Farm, and dress him down there. And then bring him down to the village afterwards.
Tell us about some of the oak boughs you've had to carry.
Well, some of them were good oak boughs to carry, and some of them were not very good. If you ever had one which was a bit one-sided, you was going one-sided instead of walking straight. And it looked like you'd had enough drink before you started with them. But if you could get one well balanced, it was a lot easier for carrying it is. So you've got to make sure you get one. That was the idea of having a look round before to try and get one which is nice shape, because it makes a lot easier of carrying.
You've done it so often now, you must be able to identify that.
Yeah, you can do. Just by walking round and looking. It's a good thing to go round before the leaves are on them and have a look round some trees before the leaves is on there, and you can see the shape of them better. And you can get them lined up then for when you comes to cut one.
Why do you go so early in the morning?
Well, the reason is because
The reason we go so early in the morning.
the reason go so early in the morning is because I've got to cut the tree, we've got to dress it, get it back to my place. Then sometimes I got 1 or 2 sticks to dress with flowers and the banner to assemble with the poles and everything. And then have breakfast, ready to go down to the new inn for 10:15. And to get the people at my place what's going to carry the banner.
Got a lot of organising to do then, haven't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
So tell us about dressing the bough and the sticks.
Well, dressing the bough with ribbon on the little branches what comes out on the outside of the tree. We put ribbons on there. It's red, white and blue. And we tries to dress him all round on most of the little twigs and branches with the ribbon.
And dressing the sticks?
Dressing the stick, that's another or different sort of job, dressing the stick with the flowers. It can be easy after you've done as many as I have, or it can be very hard and difficult if you don't know. And you can have a problem as the flowers ends down the bottom of the stick instead of the top. The old sticks that they used to have years ago used to have an acorn on them. I have got one at home, a child's one, now with the proper acorn on. But they're no good for when you're adult because they're not long enough. They're not. So the sticks I've got now, I've wrapped some cloth round the top of it, and then I've knocked some nails in there. As when I start putting the flowers in there, and the string, as I turns the stick round, and holes, and the flowers don't drop. They can't go down your stick.
Who taught you how to dress your stick?
Well, nobody really. I picked it all up on my own and kept learning and trying different things which worked out the best.
But your wife was saying, Rose was saying that you dress your stick in a traditional way.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, I have a row with her some days because I said that you ain't giving me the right flowers. So she got to give me the right flowers. I like good long ones to start with and shorter ones as I'm going on down the stick. And after you put so many on, you've got to get a pair of secateurs, just nip some of the ends off down at the bottom to get them to lie right on the stick. And after you think you've got enough on, what I do next is ties him off with string, tight, and then get some tin foil and wrap it round all the ends of the flowers tight, and then on top of that is the red, white and blue ribbon which I got hanging. And I even hooks the red, white and blue to the string to stop that dropping down and sliding down the foil.
So it's a great deal of thought that goes into dressing your sticks.
Well, yeah, but I don't think no more of it now for doing so many. I just goes and gets on with the job now.
And your wife is there, Rose is there.
Yes.
Besides you, she's been doing it 40 plus
Yeah.
years. Are you a team? This is a team.
Well, she knows somewhere near now what I want. She do, to give me what I want.
Who are you passing your skills on to?
Well, I don't know whether my grandson or granddaughter. My granddaughter's very interested, as probably they'll have a go doing the stick and that. And I don't know, the oak tree, I might pass that on if Jeff Hardwick could take it on, probably. I'm all right at the moment, but you never know. If I can't manage it, I was thinking passing it on to Jeff. That's what I'd like to do. The tree.
That would be really difficult though, Mike, would it?
Well, it would make it difficult for Jeff and hard for Jeff, but he's seen it done now and he's been with me for a long time and he knows everything really. Somebody like that.
Do you remember the day that girls were allowed to enter? Or?
Well, yeah, I did, but I can't remember what year it was. I think it was after we come out of the Friendly Society.
Could you say, Mike, I think girls were allowed to walk after, sorry.
Yeah. I think as girls was allowed to walk after we come out of the Friendly Society. Because when we was in the Friendly Society, it was only men. But when we come out and we restarted the club all over again, as we had ladies then join in as well.
And what do you think about that?
Well, it's okay, and we've never had a problem.
You were talking before when you were very young, you used to have to hold the ropes of the banner.
Yes.
Have you ever been in the walk where there was a gale or a wind?
Yes, yes.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, we have had trouble. There was trouble back a few years ago going along to Jeff Hardwick's. There was a gale come and the banner with the ones what was carrying him behind me, he very near took off. And they ended up very near on top of an edge. And I had the tree in front and the police was out that year with their cars. So the policeman, he could see as I was struggling, so he backed the car against me and I put my foot against the bumper of the car and held the tree that way. And after the wind eased up, away we went again. But for a few minutes, we couldn't move. The backward wind or a front wind is not too bad. A side wind is the worst one because it takes you across the road. I've had that happen before now. And one or two used to say to me, "Is that the wind or have you got the drink in you?" I said probably a bit of both.
Probably a 42 pints.
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah. Well, I always tells them, I always have a pint at the new inn before we start. And when we're talking to people, they said, "Oh, you like to drink then before you start?" I said, "Yeah, I have that for a ballast." I said, "To hold me down carrying the tree, look."
Sounds to me you have to be really strong to carry that bough.
Yes. I used to think nothing of it years ago. I'm struggling now, I'll tell you more than what I was then. But see how things goes. And I want to carry on as long as I can. That's what I'm hoping to do.
When does the preparation start for you? Anticipation, the excitement, the anticipation of the Saturday. Does it start today? Did it start 2 weeks ago?
Well, just organising everything and getting everything to come along happens a week or two before. But you don't worry too much about it because you've done it so many times as it's just natural to us now.
What's been, of all your 40 years involvement with the walk, has there been any highlights for you, any high points?
No, not really. There was 1 year we couldn't do it, the year of the foot and mouth. We cancelled it and we didn't have it that year. Otherwise, it's been going on the same very near every year.
Would you ever allow your wife to dress your stick?
Well, I would. It's not for me, it's for my granddaughter, actually. Yeah, she could do.
Well, tell me about your granddaughter, though. Does she get excited about the day?
Well, yeah, she ever since she's been small, she's been walking, and she quite enjoys it. But she's very busy, like, as sometimes she can't come out. She's open to come at 5:30 tomorrow morning.
Can you say that, Mike, again? But
Yeah.
say it's your granddaughter.
My granddaughter is open to come.
Sorry, just a second.
You start again because my voice crossed over yours. So
Yeah.
Okay, go.
My granddaughter is open to come for 5:30 to help us with the tree and the stick tomorrow morning.
Is there lots of competition amongst the walkers and the
There is dressing the stick, who's got the best dressed stick, and because somewhere on the round, one of the host places, they judges the stick, and we've got a juvenile stick, one what was made, and a senior stick, and the winner has this stick for 12 months. They do. But I've suggested them, if they'd like to, they can dress this stick with flowers, carry it on Club Walk Day, then take their flowers off during the coming week and pass it on to who won the best stick ready for next year. Because the sticks never used to do nothing. They used to pass the sticks without flowers on to one another or on the judging, and I thought, well, that's a waste of time. So whether it'll work or not, I don't know, but we're going to try.
Do you know why you have this decorated sticks? Do you know where the tradition comes from?
I don't, not really. They've been decorating the sticks for years, from the time it must have started, I should think. From 1870 some odd. I can't quite remember now.
1876.
Yeah, 1876, I thought it was. And they must have been doing it since then.
Did your grandparents and great-grandparents, were they involved with it?
No.
So how did you get involved?
Well, I got involved because the person what used to cut the oak tree, I was with him actually, Mr. Alan Godsall. I used to go with him up into the wood when I was a boy and see him cutting the tree and help him. And that's how I got involved. And that's when I must have been about 7 or 8.
So you've been involved in it for such a long time. So what does it mean to you? You know, personally, what does it mean to you to be involved with this walk?
Well, I'm always very happy to do it, and I look forward to it every year, and I shall carry on looking forward to it as long as I can. And I hope, as anything happens to me, as others will keep it going.
Is it a tradition that's very close to your heart and the village's heart?
Well, it is in a way, but once Club Walk's over, you forget about it till next year. You have your meetings in between, one every month, and we do the quiz and a car treasure run we used to do, and different things and that. But otherwise, you just wait for the next Club Walk.
What were you telling us before about the darts matches?
Yeah, that's what we used to do years ago. That was quite a long time ago. As Mike Best was involved in that as well, down Fortune Ferry. Used to have a dart tournament. What used to go all the week, from the Monday till the Friday. night. It was quite interesting. Some used to play and some never. Some used to do more drinking and playing, because we had a lot of drinkers in that time and that, but you haven't got them no more.
And people used to be very smart, you know,
Yeah,
what was it?
always dressed in a suit. I still wear a suit now, and I shall have a suit on tomorrow and that. But it's got now, as a lot of people don't wear suits, but all the men, when it used to be only the men, everyone was in suits. And I remember when I was a little boy, my mother used to have to make me very smart, because I used to have a new pair of sandals or shoes, especially for the club walk. When I was only 5 and 6, I can remember.
When you were at school, did you go to Fownhope School?
Yes.
Is it something the school ever got involved with?
No, not really. No.
And finally, I think, Mike, same question I asked your wife. Why do you think it's important that we record your memories of this event?
Well, if you don't record it, or somebody records it, nobody in years to come will know anything about it. Actually, if it finishes, it's like there's always something with you recording it as people can look at.
Tell us about Derek Evans, and can you use his name as well?
Yeah, Derek Evans used to come every club walk to the new end for 10 o'clock, and he used to go round and photograph different sticks, the oak tree, me with the oak tree, the banner, and then when we started, he'd go up the road, he'd run up the pavement, and he'd be turning round, and as we was parading up to the church, he'd take photographs all the way up the road. He would to the church. When we got to the church, he used to nip it in and up on the wall, and he'd be taking photographs of everybody what walked up the aisle into the church. And then, in the Hereford Times, with it about a fortnight after, you'd see a bit of a write-up he'd put, and photographs of me, most probably, with the tree or the banner, which he had took and put into the Hereford Times.
Rolling.
This photograph of me and Rose was took probably just after we were married, because we've got the old Heart of Oak Society banner, which now is hung in the church. And that one, when he went out a long time ago, and we had another banner, a blue one, which we've still got, which was very, very heavy. And if a storm of rain come, that was the end of it. In the end, he cracked one of the wooden poles through, because he was so heavy. And that is how we've come to have this other new banner now, actually. This is me, I'll point to me, when I was about 6 or 7. Outside the Green Man, we used to wait to start, and that was the start of the club with the old banner. And there's a lot of our school mates along here with me, and then all the older people is at the back.